Hi, welcome to week 5 of the Loughborough University's League. And on tonight's show, we've got a great interview lined up with Loughborough Aces coaches.
Yeah, we'll also be running through this week's highlight game, which was the Northumbria Mustangs hosting the York Centurions, and we'll be going through the rest of the scores as well.
And also we've got a great exclusive interview lined up with Sam Ruddock, who was a Paralympian and ex-Loughborough Aces player. And
we'll be talking on the phone with Dan Faulkner, who's another UK athlete plying his trade over in the US, and we'll be talking about his team's recent bowl game visit.
Well, Alan, let's talk about your visit recently to Loughborough. You were down that neck of the woods and you had a wee chat with Paul Sharratt and his coaches there.
Absolutely. It was great to actually see the guys in person. I went down midweek, managed to catch them in a midweek session, so the coach was very generous in inviting me in. I managed to watch the team. I thought they looked great, a great work ethic, but we managed to catch up with them, talk about how the season's gone so far and what they make of the MAC conference overall. So let's see what they had to say then. Well, here in Loughborough, we're joined by the head coach of the Aces, Paul Sharratt. Paul, thanks very much for joining me.
That's okay. I feel a bit overdressed, but nice to be here.
So the team's been doing great this season. 3 very comfortable victories so far. How are they feeling at the moment?
Yeah, I think we feel good. It's been good. We've played DMU, who are a new team, Leicester, who are double wing, and Outlaws, who were pretty useful. But we've played well. We've not turned the ball over. Defence has been exceptional. So yeah, we're pleased where we are. But obviously, we've got to get through to the end of the season and the big games against your sort of NTUs and your Birminghams.
Yeah, you mentioned those 2 teams there who actually faced each other just this week past. Overall, what have you made of the rest of the MAC from this season?
I don't know. I think it's a bit different. There's a few things that have changed. I think the sort of Warwicks and Coventry seem to have taken a step up. I think Leicester are probably better than the scoreline against us suggested. So it's interesting. And then of course you've got Northampton, which we'll find out in a couple of weeks where they are. So yeah, it's interesting stuff. So I still think you've got the sort of top 2. And then, but that sort of second tier, if you like, is becoming a little more blurred.
And how's the team feeling at the moment?
Positive, I think. I think they're pretty pleased with their performance. The defence is proud of its 3 shutouts. Offence, we've still got work to do, but the potential's there. I think we've got a very young offensive line this year, which was a concern, but they played very well last week. So if we can keep that going and keep them developing, I think we're in good shape.
Now, obviously, we've had a lot of postponements over the last few weeks due to the weather, and that's surely going to change the schedule a lot. How are you feeling about the fact that games coming up might be postponed or might be changed?
Yeah, well, I think before the weekend it was a big concern. We had some floods around here. The weather was atrocious, but the field that we're on this year is specifically for American football. It is been levelled and the sort of foundation's been redone. So in terms of the way it drained and the state it's in after playing on it Sunday, I described it as magic. I have no idea how it held up so well. So we're very pleased about the pitch. The groundskeeper have done an excellent job, and we're very confident we'll get all our home games played at least.
And tell us about the team's preparations for your next game coming up in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, well, our next game's Northampton. We've got a bye week this week. And then we play Northampton. So, we're getting ready for them. This week's more about focusing on, correcting things we've seen on the film. And then we'll start doing more scheme against Northampton next week. But we're really just kind of focusing on getting ourselves where we need to be, I guess.
Well, Coach, thanks very much for joining us and good luck for the rest of the season.
Yep, thanks very much. All right.
Well, Coach, it's a cold night. Be back in training. How are the team looking tonight?
Not quite as on form as we would like tonight. After coming off 3 wins, I think maybe a little bit of slackened off a little bit tonight would be probably the best word for it.
So far, though, the defence has performed really well, and you've had 3 shutouts this season. So you must be really impressed with what you've seen so far.
Been really happy actually. Watching the tape back from Sunday, the amount of times we were getting a lot of bodies to the ball, I was really happy with it, and I've been really happy with how the guys have picked it up this year. They've made my job 10 times easier than I would hope, so it's been good.
And you've been with the Aces a long time now, several years in fact. How have you seen the team develop whilst you've been here?
I've been with it since a player and then joined straight into coaching. It's been really good. It's progressed year on year and keep moving forward. Everyone's always tried to push the club forward. We've always aimed for the high standards for every head coach, and each one's brought their own little blueprint for the club. It's always been pushing forward and trying to get better as a club. So.
And now with American football being a Bucks affiliated sport, that must surely provide a little bit more help in terms of support from the university.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this year they've even provided us with a more proper American football field. Previously we've had to cope with fields that have been whatever we could get hold of, and this time they've actually given us a proper field with wide posts and everything like that, and we've seen a real change in attitudes in the union to supporting us, and we're going through a rebrand as well, so throughout all of that the university support's been really positive.
Well, we asked Coach Sherratt earlier, but you've got some tough matches coming up, and what have you made of the MAC conference overall so far?
It's a bit hard to say. Early on, some of the teams haven't been performing how I thought they would do, but there's some strength in depth there, especially the Nottingham teams and our main rivalry, which is the Birmingham game. Obviously, we've got a close rivalry with those guys, but it's as I say with most guys, it's a friendly rivalry. We know them really well and we get on really well, and it's just that one day a year we sort of bang heads, so it's been good.
Well, thanks very much for joining us, Coach.
All right, thank you. Cheers.
Well, thank you very much to Coach Sherratt and all his staff there at the team. And as we can see, they're feeling okay about the season. There are a few mistakes they want to iron out, but when you've got 3 shutouts on the defence already, they seem to be performing pretty well.
Absolutely, and Loughborough have always been one of the giants of university football, and they have been for a number of years. We witnessed them firsthand against Stirling last year, and Stirling being a strong side, and Loughborough, pretty much came up and taught them a lesson in football, and they unfortunately were beaten in the end by Birmingham Lions. But it's good to see. We spoke to Paul Sherratt actually a few weeks back when we were in Lincolnshire at a game, and he seems really optimistic about the team that he's actually got at the moment. And looking at the results, they're doing fantastically well.
Yeah, they do seem to have a good spirit. And talking about Loughborough, we'll also be back there in a couple of weeks' time. We'll be seeing the Great Britain University side going through trials down there. And when we mention athletes going to national level and possibly international, we managed to catch up with Dan Faulkner, who's a former player in Edinburgh and now competing over in the junior NCAA. And we managed to ask him a few questions about his season, what it's like playing football over there, and what his season's been like. So thanks very much for joining us, Dan.
Hi, how you doing? So, as we said there, you came from rugby into American football. You're now over in the US. So, explain what it was that initially got you into American football.
So, maybe 2 years ago, I played rugby at the high school, and then Edinburgh Wolves came to me. I went and we played there for a season. It was really, that started my football up, and best thing I possibly ever could have done. Because for me, this is my sport now. This is all I care about.
And obviously, you're now over there with Louisberg. You've had a pretty good season. Actually, you just in a bowl game at the weekend. Can you explain the bowl game and explain how it went for us?
Yeah, we went to a bowl game in Iowa and played a pretty hard game, a tough opponent, and came down to the wire, and we had a blocked field goal in the last minute, and they went ahead and kicked a field goal, so a bit of a disappointment there. But overall, I think our season's gone well. We went 6-2, and we were ranked at the end. We were ranked number 18 in the country, so for junior colleges, which I think is very good.
Yeah, that's a pretty impressive ranking overall. What's the kind of atmosphere around the team, and how have you managed to integrate yourself into the team since joining?
Yeah, it's been kind of weird for me being Scottish and coming over here to play, but I couldn't have joined a better team. The players here have been, really great to play with, and some of the best athletes I've ever seen. And the coaching staff is very good here. So.
Yeah, and so what's your steps from now on? You're obviously going through finals and exams right now, but what are your steps for next year for football?
Well, I had a couple of offers from schools, and just looking into getting into some better ones at the moment, and we're going to see how that goes for me. So. hopefully be playing somewhere better next year.
Yeah, we'll try and catch up with you at that point. But thanks very much for joining us on the show. Good luck with the exams and the finals, and good luck for next season as well.
Thank you.
A big thank you to Dan Faulkner there. Alan, it's always good to see a young British athlete doing so well in America and going over there and plying his trade as a football player.
Yeah, and he was originally from rugby, so that's his background, but then he found the sport over here and then moved over there and found it over there. So it's great to see him doing so well at it, something he's natural at. And great to see the team doing so well, just narrowly missing out at the end there. Yeah,
and it's great the fact that he's going to be going up to the Division 1 next season as well. So it's going to be good, and I wish him all the very best of luck for next season. But going on to the University Leagues at the weekend, we've got great highlights now coming up for you from the Northumbria Mustangs against the York Centurions.
The York Centurions travelled to Gateshead to take on the Northumbria Mustangs in BUAFL's North Eastern Conference. Neither side could muster much offence in the first quarter, with first downs hard to come by for both sides. The highlight of the first quarter was this truck by Mustangs QB Leonard Burney on cornerback Oliver Davis. We'll show you that again in slow motion, a play that showed the physicality of the Mustangs triggerman. After a delay due to a York injury, York lost a fumble on the snap, recovered by Mustangs linebacker number 52. Northumbria should have opened the scoring just before the half, with Burney hitting Andrew Metcalf in the hands only for him to drop it on the deep pass. Northumbria then dropped an easy pick as QB Robert Wickham hit safety Jonathan Creek in the hands. Centurions then did pick off Burney as Sebastian Booth leaped for an interception as the clock hit 0-0 in the first half. In the third quarter, York marched down the field with running back Ryan Williams taking it in from 2 yards out. The 2-point conversion was complete. Wickham to wide receiver Sam Park. A fumble reverse gave York the ball back soon after. Quarterback Wickham then found wide receiver Matt Booth on a 20-yard pass. 2-point conversion was no good. Then came the game changer as York blocked a punt with 8 minutes remaining. Quarterback Burney ran in the first score from 4 yards out. The 2-point conversion was good from Burney to Metcalf. After York 3 and out, Burney ran in his second score at a level with 3 minutes to play. With 2:16 remaining, running back Ortega Diegbe of the Mustangs put the Mustangs ahead for good with a 5-yard touchdown. Burney converting the 2-point conversion himself. The final score was Mustangs 22, Centurions 16.
Well, some great highlights there, and thank you very much to our cameraman Stuart Dick for getting the action there. And we saw a fairly close game, not many scores in it really, but a couple of big plays, particularly that blocked punt is probably one of the big ones.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about that, Alan, off air as well, and it seemed to be the turning point for Northumbria. It managed to get them back into the game, gave the team a bit of confidence, and they went away and won it, and just won it and no more. But it was a good, entertaining game to watch. Some good hits as well.
Yeah, definitely, and it kind of reflective of a lot of other games that happened this weekend. Some narrow ones, a few postponements, changing from the floods now to the freezes. A couple of games frozen off. But if we go into our scores now, let's start with the Saltire division.
Well, going to the scores here from the weekend, as there was no games in the Saltire League this weekend due to the weather, we moved straight to the North Eastern Division, where the UH Sharks beat the Carnegie 23-6, and Teesside Cougars losing to Durham Saints 20-18, and the game we featured there was the Northumbria Mustangs winning 22-14 over the York Centurions.
Yeah, and up in the northwest we've got the Hallam Warriors shutting out the Lancaster Bombers 24-0. And Liverpool narrowly losing out to Manchester in a missed 2-pointer in the last minute of the game, so they go down 13 points to 14 there.
So move on to the MAC, and Birmingham Lions just steamrolling their way through this division at the moment. 61-0 win over local rivals Coventry Jets. And the Lincoln Colonials, our feature team for a few weeks ago, losing out by 2 points to the Leicester Longhorns 24-22. And we look to Nottingham Outlaws losing to Northampton Nemesis 33-16.
And then down in the southwest we had 2 shutouts to start off with. The UWE Bullets beating Cardiff 24-0, and Bath Killer Bees defeating other Welsh opponents Swansea Titans 20-0. And then we had the Plymouth Blitz with the biggest score, 52 points to 15 against Bristol.
And we're on to the Thames Valley, the OBU Panthers just losing out to the Portsmouth Destroyers 20-19. An extra point of a difference in that game there. And we look to the Solent Redhawks beating the Brunel Burners 18-12. Another shutout here for Southampton Stags 20-0 over the RHUL Bears. And another shutout in this Thames Valley division, Kingston Cougars 20-0 victors over the Reading Knights. And we look to the Brighton Tsunami 14-8 over the Surrey Stingers.
And finishing off in the SEC, in the Hertfordshire Hurricanes dominant as ever, 55 points to 6 over the Spartans. And it was Kent Falcons back in action, winning 34 points to 18 against Westminster. And we finished with the KCL Regents, again winning 54 points to 0 against the ARU Rhinos.
Well, Alan, let's have a look at some of the scores that stick out again. Birmingham, they're just an unstoppable train at the moment, aren't they?
Yep, same with all the top teams really. We heard Coach Shera earlier actually saying there's those top 2 or a couple of teams at the top, and they're really showing their worth there. So it's a pretty straightforward march to the playoffs, you would think, for them, as long as they keep going. A good time for them to get backups, second, third strings in, so they've got a full force ready for playoffs.
I mean, the good thing about, obviously, look at Stirling undefeated, Birmingham undefeated, Hertfordshire Hurricanes, the usual suspects who are normally thereabouts for the finals. I mean, this gives their teams a chance to blood rookies and bring players in and give them some downs in preparation, so if they get injuries later in the season, definitely, it gives them the chance to really give these guys a game time. Absolutely.
I mean, we're kind of getting towards the first half of the season being over, and we've got something like 13 teams or so that are undefeated at the moment, who've played a few games now. So again, they'll all be in the same situation where they'll have a chance to get the rookies in. You work through all the different plays in the playbook. Sometimes if you're up against it in a season, you might just stick to your favourites. But if you get that far ahead, you might want to try a few trick plays, try a few extra ones, so you know you can do them later on in the season. Absolutely, and we also look as well, there's 30 teams out there who haven't won a game yet either, and I'm sure they're doing everything they possibly can at practice to bring new players in as well. But the only message to those guys is just stick with it, stick with the playbook, it'll come good eventually. Definitely, there's still plenty of time. A lot of teams you'll see actually have a turnaround in the second half of uni season, so they'll come back after Christmas, a brand new team basically, and then they'll make a good run towards the playoffs. And it's only 8 games, so not a lot of room for error really. So if you've gone winless so far, it's hard to come back from that. But like you said, you get guys more relaxed. Just go in, just play the game, have some fun. Absolutely, and that's the way it's about, and it gives them the chance to enjoy the sport and to really sort of take it in. But still a long way to go yet. There's still things that can happen. But Alan, you also recently spoke to Sam Ruddock, ex-Loughborough Aces and Paralympian, may I add as well. So, and how was that chat with Sam? He's a great guy. As everyone heard earlier in the year, the people have known him from the Aces before. He was selected for the Paralympians for the T35, 100 metres and 200 metres. So I managed to catch up with him and ask him what the whole Olympics and Paralympic experience was like, as well as touching on a little bit about his time with the Aces. So Sam, thank you very much for joining me.
No, you're welcome.
So as we mentioned there, you are a former Aces player, and also you've had an amazing year competing in the Paralympics. So we start off with your time with Loughborough. Can you describe the time that you spent with the Aces and your experience playing football?
Yeah, well, I started playing in 2009. Obviously, like most rookies that go to the Aces, never really played the sport before. Started playing Madden and then NFL 2K, took a general interest and learned the rules of the game through playing that and the various positions. And when it came to choosing university, I wanted to play sport for my uni. It was something that I generally wanted to do. And I saw they had an American football team, so it was something. So I thought that looks really interesting. Let's give it a go. I played it on Madden, and it looks like fun. And I've watched a couple of games. It could be a good laugh. So I signed up, and I really enjoyed it from the first session. It wasn't a tryout. That's probably one of the most important things about football when you first start playing. It's not a tryout. It's a come and play, and if you like it, stick around, and if you don't, you can go and try something else. So the coaches really encouraged me to get involved with it, and despite the cerebral palsy, I think they realised that the fact that I was there willing to give it a go was enough for them not to question it, as if to say, well, this guy's come and he's got a disability and he still wants to play football, so we shouldn't question his ambition or his effort to want to play the game. And I started playing, and I got a bit better, and I learned from the other linebackers that I used to play with, guys like really old guys like Liam Brown, Dave Cockleberg, Ben Davies, who's an outside linebacker. He still plays. These are the sorts of guys that I really wanted to emulate and be as good as. Took me a while to get there. I didn't really get a starting spot on the defense until about my third year. I had to get into the gym and start working on my size and my speed, and I didn't really make that commitment until my second year. So it took me a while to learn not only the rules of the game, but the sort of commitment it took to be a real asset to the team. So that's pretty much what I learned through playing the game, and I got a lot stronger and a lot quicker. And then obviously everything happened a bit all of a sudden last year when the sprinting came along. So.
Yeah, absolutely. You were spotted by a coach, and one thing led to another, and then you were announced earlier in the year as being part of the GB Paralympic team in the T35 category. Describe what it was to actually go through, firstly, that experience, but then also in the fact that it was a home games as well, and having the home support there.
Yeah, it was. Well, every time someone asks me, Sam, can you describe London? And it's really hard to describe the sorts of feelings that I had and the sorts of emotions and just what that spectacle was like as a whole. It's the highest honour I've ever received ever. To be given my Paralympic debut and my international debut for Great Britain at a Paralympic Games. It's the highest level you can compete at for disability sport. And only that, it was in London. It was the home games. It was the only time in our lifetimes we would ever see our country as a host nation for the second biggest sporting spectacle in the world. So to get those two things in July, a Paralympic debut and an international debut all at once at these games, it was such a huge honour. And when it happened, and when the guys at the Aces, when they realised, well, I say Aces, now it's Loughborough Students American Football. It's not the same anymore. But back then, when I was found by that athletics coach, the guys were so supportive of it. I mean, they were just so happy and so pleased that after all the effort I put in to be a better football player, to be a better linebacker, despite not being the best player on the team. I mean, I was president at this time, so I had to focus on getting the guys through the postseason and towards the national final. And then obviously we lost out to Hearts, which was an awesome semi-final game. But then after that, I was in tears. I couldn't quite believe that it would be the last game of football I would ever play with the guys that stood by me and supported me in my new endeavour. And when it all happened, they were just so thrilled. They couldn't quite believe that one of their players, a Loughborough Ace, an American football player, would be making a name for himself on the biggest stage, representing his country. And it was humbling to have so much support, not just from the Aces, but from the entire league. It was I felt really proud to be representing the game. And to have American football and the Aces get live mentioned on Channel 4, which was awesome. Everyone's like, "What? Loughborough Aces getting a mention on the television? It's great." So I feel like I've been a good advertisement for what the sport can do for a person who just takes a keen interest in sport and commits themselves to it, and they can develop their strength and their speed and their attitude towards success, which is something we take really seriously at Loughborough. And transfer it into anything, and in this case it was Paralympic sprinting.
Absolutely, it's very well said there. Now, what are the next steps for you? Will we be seeing you any more competitions coming up?
The next big competition is the World Championships. The IPC, the International Paralympic Committee, World Championships for Athletics. They'll be in Lyon next year in July. The Commonwealth Games, unfortunately, the way the Commonwealth works, not every classification gets a race. So I won't be competing there. But 2015 we'll have Europeans, and then obviously the big one in Rio de Janeiro 2016 Paralympic Games, which I'm expecting myself to win a medal. I'm really pretty focused on getting a gold, and I think the guys want me to go and chase that gold after being so fresh and so new in the sport. I mean, that coach found me in December. I ran my first race in April, and then was selected for the team in July. If I can do that, if I can make a team, an international team in 6 months, imagine what I can do with 3.5 years of training. I mean, I've got to be pretty highly ranked up there somewhere. So yeah, Rio will come, and then in 2017 it's the World Championships again, but this time in London. So we should be expecting a huge sellout, just like this year was, because it'll be a year after Rio, and kind of another home nation, another pride, another national pride sort of attitude around that competition will be awesome. So yeah, those are the next steps. Unfortunately, I won't be stepping back onto a football field anytime soon, but I've been to a game, and I'm going to be down for the Football America UK Bowl, which will be the Lions versus Aces in February, and that's our homecoming game. That's our 25th anniversary game. So I'm going to be down there supporting the guys and just enjoying that beautiful rivalry that we have with Birmingham. It's a great game, and such an advertisement for the sport. I wouldn't miss it for the world. So I'm definitely going to be there, no matter how grueling training might be for the track.
Absolutely. Well, thanks very much for joining us, Sam, and congratulations for your progress so far. And we'll look forward to seeing you in action in the competitions coming up.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's been great to talk to you guys.
And a big thank you to Sam Ruddock there. And what an achievement, Paralympian, representing his country, in his country. And what an achievement to actually be able to do that.
Yeah, it's a great year for him, so I really hope he continues to do well and continues to move on with everything he's doing.
Yeah, and congratulations to him. So let's stay on the subject of Great Britain and Ireland. We've got the Great Britain University trials coming up on the 17th, 18th of December in Loughborough. Yep. Now, you were down in Loughborough just the other week, and you had the chance to see the facilities firsthand.
Yeah, I mean, the whole campus is so much sport going on, so it's great facilities all around, and I'm sure the guys going down, if they haven't already been down, it'll be a great time for them. Especially not just the facilities, but the actual whole experience itself of going to national trials. You'll have guys that have been down there for a couple of years now, returning guys, and then some that are brand new, maybe some even kind of in their first year. So it'll be a bit of a change for them, change of pace perhaps, but it'll be a fantastic weekend of learning and training for them. It
certainly will be. And actually on the phone now, we're joined by the General Manager of the GB Line University squad, Caro Freeman. Caro, thanks for joining us on Gridiron TV.
Okay, no, I'm pleased to be here.
Now you're the General Manager of the university team, the Lions, and you're due to be facing Sweden in a match coming up. And you've actually been over to Sweden to have a look at things and get things arranged. How's it all looking over there?
Oh, absolutely amazing. Even better than I could have hoped. The Swedish are a very well organised people, and I know we're going to have a great time when we get out there because everything's in place already. Yeah, their facilities are fantastic.
So what was it that you were actually doing over there in Sweden?
Basically, I was meeting with a guy called Martin Soderberg, who is a professional golfer in Sweden, but has been a lifelong member of a team called the Uppsala 86ers, 86ers for obvious reasons, and he's been with them since then. And Martin's team have been chosen by the Swedish Federation to host our game in April. They're very honoured, and they've also bid for the World Games, which means that this is part of the build-up for them. He basically showed me around the facilities we'll be using while we're there. Fabulous 4G field with a very, very high-quality grass. Superb changing rooms, lots of them, very clean, just what you'd expect of Sweden, I suppose. If you imagined it, everything clean, everything new and looking great. But what they have got are strong. Their their Super League equivalent of our Premiership is only 7 teams, but within those 7 teams, they've got some very, very big guys, some very strong guys, and yeah, there's a lot of potential out there.
So let's talk about the GB side itself. They've got trials coming up in Loughborough on the 15th and the 16th. We'll be there as Gridiron TV for interviews and also discussing what's going on over the weekend. But in terms of actually planning for that, how are things going behind the scenes?
As you can imagine, it's been massive. I think most people in British football are aware of the response we've had, because we've put the response out there, because we're just so absolutely knocked back by it. It's fantastic. 360 approximately guys applied to take part. From that, we're down to, I think it's 254, but Wayne would probably correct me on that if he was here. Near enough to 250. You can imagine the logistics of getting 250 guys and enough staff to cope with them down to Loughborough on the same 2 days. It's been huge, and I haven't done much else recently, but it's all in place now. We've got everything we need. We've got training spaces, we've got classrooms. I mean, as everybody knows, Loughborough's great anyway, and they're providing us with the best that the UK can offer, and we've got all those guys hopefully turning up at the same time on the same day, all ready to absolutely go big with it, because now that I've seen what's available to us in Sweden, they're going to want to be there.
So tell us how you actually got involved in becoming the general manager of the Great Britain squad.
Almost by reputation, I think. People, I think at BAFA and in national leagues are aware of sort of my kind of reputation as a manager at Lancashire. I have been a successful manager there for a few years now. I think I do a good job. I like to think I do a good job. I'm an organised person, and I think that's been spotted, and it was felt that I might be the right person to step up and do this, and I was really, really happy when I was asked. It's a role I'm absolutely relishing, although the number of hours a week is not something that, was on the bottom line of the advert.
Right, absolutely not, no. But you were very successful also with the Lancashire Wolverine Colts, going all the way to the finals and just losing out to the Blitz there. But will you still be involved with them in this next season coming?
Oh yeah, definitely. I've got to carry on with my domestic football alongside my GB football. They're parallel. I wouldn't give up one to do the other. I've got a really strong attachment to the Lancashire Wolverine, to the Lancashire Academy. Actually, been a lot of coverage recently of us as an academy, and it's a working academy system with well over 200 members from age 7 up to age sort of 47, and that system is working for us, and it's not something I would want to step away from. And I've been to the national finals, I think, is it 3 out of the last 5 years, or 4 out of the last 6, something like that, with the Colts. And one of these years, it's going to be our year. It really is. We're getting better all the time. We're getting stronger all the time. And I'm not going to go before I've done that.
Absolutely, and quite rightly so. I mean, people talk about your academy all the time, and I haven't been down to see it personally, but the things I hear are fantastic. And the fact that it's great for British football to have an academy such as Lancashire.
Yeah, definitely. And as a beacon, as a role model, I think it's something we need more of. And I know national leagues have gone out of their way to try and make that happen by saying that Premiership teams now have to be able to show that they've got a junior programme, or new adult teams have got to be able to show that they're offering a junior or a youth programme. And I think that's the future. That is the future. I mean, it's how the Americans do it, and it's how they do it. It's how we should be doing it.
Oh, absolutely, and we definitely agree with that. But do you think there should be more teams now that are kind of sprouting up with these academies like you have?
Yeah, definitely. And I know that Simon Purcell, who you've interviewed previously, our current academy chairperson, and Greg Adam, his predecessor, very, very keen to offer any help to any other clubs out there who would like to run an academy system. We know we're not the only. I'm not saying we're the only one. There are others, but we're more than happy to give help and advice to anyone trying to start that, because we've probably had it going longer than most. Chorley Buccaneers being our sort of first highlight youth club, and then Burnley Tornadoes, very, very successful now. Standish Raiders and Preston Pythons coming up close behind. So it is something we would be more than happy to help other clubs out with if anyone wanted advice on that. But it is working for us. It is definitely working for us. I would say probably getting towards half of our Premiership senior squad will now be guys who have played for one of our younger teams, and that's massive.
That's great to hear, and especially the things are going so well for the guys. But let's go back to the GB side now. We saw all the applications come in for that 15th and 16th. There's a deadline through the emailing process for those that were invited, as it's an invitation-only event. And you mentioned there's only about 250 or so students there, so the logistics, you said, must be incredible and crazy to organise. So what's left for you now to do in terms of organising the last few bits so that everything's ready to go for that weekend?
I would like to think now, with less than 2 weeks to go, it's all done. There'll be the odd hiccup along the way, because there always is with everything, and that's actually my favourite bit of being a manager is game day management. With the little hiccups happen on game day that you have to iron out, and by the time the game happens, you think, yeah, I did that. That's my favourite bit. But the big stuff's all done. The facilities are ready. The guys are ready. All but a handful have got back to us and said they're coming, and I'm sure those last few will do it in the next day or two. Anyone listening to this who hasn't, who's maybe forgotten to check their emails, there are about a dozen of them out there who still haven't replied. Please do it. But yeah, it's all ready and everyone's ready to go. And I just think, the opportunity to see this many athletes in one place at one time, it probably hasn't happened.
No, and you're right. We've seen some national squads together, but probably nothing of the same size. But going back to the actual game itself, can you tell us a little bit about when and where it's going to be?
Right, okay, it's going to happen on April the 6th, 2013. We're flying out on the 5th, on Friday the 5th, and we're returning on Sunday the 7th, so it's a tight schedule. I was asked while I was there if there would be anybody hoping to fly out and watch from the UK in terms of, spectators beyond the main party that I've already booked. I mean, it's all booked and in place, the flights are done and everything. And yeah, again, anyone listening who thinks that they might be interested in being a spectator for that game, please do get in touch with myself via the usual channels. But it's the 6th of April. That there are going to be sort of formalities surrounding the game. We're going to have a couple of Swedish officials there. I believe Tommy Viking, the president of IFAF, will be there, and also the Chancellor of Uppsala University, which is the host city. So I think it's going to be great.
Great, and well, we certainly look forward to seeing it. In fact, and hopefully ourselves at Gridiron TV can be out there to provide some coverage and can make a memento for the guys that actually make it out to the team there. But Caro, thanks very much for joining us. It's a great setup by the sounds of it that you already have, so hopefully it'll keep growing, getting better, and we'll end up with a great squad by the end of it. So thanks again for joining us on the show.
Thank you very much.
A big thank you to Caro Freeman there for joining us on Gridiron TV. Well, unfortunately that's all we've got time for. A big thank you to all our guests for being on tonight's show. Now, if you want to be involved with Gridiron TV, you want to come on as a guest or do an interview to promote your club, you can get us on our Facebook page at Gridiron TV.
Yeah, or you can follow us at @gridiron_TV on Twitter.
And also you've got a web page where you'll be able to find up-to-date stories and latest episodes of the show at www.gridirontv.co.uk.
And again, if you've got any questions for the show or you want to get involved somehow or you want to email us instead, you can go to info@gridirontv.co.uk.
Well, unfortunately that's not all we've got time for this week, ladies and gentlemen. We've actually got a special announcement to make. Gridiron TV has a new presenter who will be joining us periodically throughout the seasons take a little sneak preview. We'll leave you with this clip of our new presenter.
Hello, everyone. It is Cecil Martin here from Sky Sports NFL. If you don't know, I played with the Philadelphia Eagles, the Oakland Raiders, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but my college ball, like none other, was at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. I am so happy to tell all of you that I'm going to have the opportunity to join the Gridiron TV team with all of you this Monday night, and I'm going to be on the show quite a bit moving forward. So get ready. Let's have some fun, and let's get down with some good old-fashioned football. I'll see you guys on the show.